Good morning. This is Paul with Forex Smart Trade. Glad you could make it with us this morning to do the morning live trade. So let's get started. I usually, we should all work off of a trade routine. Here is kind of my trade routine. Although I don't have it posted on here, I think it's good practice. Even before we start, is I always like to double check and make sure that I am connected to the internet. The way I confirm I'm connected to the internet is I look up here to the top left corner of the green chart to see that that's green, and then I go down to the bottom right corner of any chart and see if that's green. So I know I'm looking at real-time connection, connected to the internet, and the chart is current. Then before I start, I'd like to take a look at Forex Factory and see what the prospective news is. As we are technical traders, the indicators work primarily off of price movement. When there's something that is going to interfere with normal price movement, which might be a news item, we want to stay away from it. So by looking at Forex Factory, that gives us a quick idea of what prospective news items might be coming up. It also categorizes them by yellow, orange, and red. And the ones that I'm particularly interested in that might move the market are the red ones. So as I scroll down the list, at 10 a.m. On the US dollar, we've got consumer confidence going to be announced. So I want to stay away from trades that are going to have the US dollar. I don't want to be in a trade that has the US dollar at 10 a.m. And then tonight, 7:30, there's some some news on the Australian dollar. We don't need to worry about these because any trade that we take this morning, I would expect to have been closed by now. On a trade for the US dollar this morning, if we have a thick orange line trade, a quick 5-pip scalp, I would be okay with taking that because I would expect it. We're at 6:30 in the morning. We got 3.5 hours to then. I would expect that trade to close within the next hour or two. So I wouldn't be as worried about taking a thick orange line trade at this time, given how much time we have until we get to the 10 a.m. But I probably wouldn't take a 10-point trade. But we will take a look and see. So the next thing, so I check my announcements. My review of yesterday, last week, we took 2 trades, one on the Australian dollar, US dollar, one on the CAD yen, both closed. So we did okay there. So first, let's just take a quick look and see what we have for, do a quick scan on the thick orange line trade. I've got 3 sets of composite charts set up that have 18 different pairs. So that allows me to quickly go through and scan and see what's available. Thick orange line trade, I'm looking for 2 factors. First, I check the number associated with the thick orange line, which is this number over to the left, and that runs on a scale from 0 to -100. When we're at 0, what it's telling us is based on the scale that the line has been given that we don't believe there's any more up in the movement. So that's a buy signal, or excuse me, a sell signal. Likewise, when it is at -100, it is telling us that we believe the line has maxed out. There's not much more down in the movement. That's a buy signal. So we're going to look for a 0 or -100 or within 10 points of either. When we see that, we're going to then go to our second backup criteria to confirm that indeed the 0 is we're maxing out, or the minus 100 we're maxing out. So we'll go look to the majors and minors. So minus 45 on the Euro USD is a no. It's not at 0 or minus 100. Pound dollar minus 37 is a no, not close enough to 0 or minus 100. Australian USD minus 24 is a no. USD Swiss franc minus 50 is a no. US dollar JPY minus 74 is a no. And USD Canadian minus 69 is a no. So let's go to our second set of charts. These charts do not contain, these are non-US currencies. So Euro Pound minus 64 is a no. Australian dollar Yen minus 29 is a no. Minus 51 is a no. Now, if I see a no here, I don't need to go to my second indicator. Minus 100 is a yes. So Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar, minus 100. I have all 4 lines below. So I like, so here we've got the signal. If I look up at my time remaining, 23 minutes, I want to take this when there's about 5 minutes remaining. Some people will actually wait till the clock changes, right when it gets to 0, wait for the number for a new candle to start, and they will look to see if this number changes by 10. So it would go from minus 100 to minus 90 or less. I am comfortable taking the trade. If I have condition 1 and condition 2, I am comfortable taking the trade. So AUD NZD, that's a buy trade for 5, but we're going to wait another 17 minutes or so before we take this. So that's 1. Minus 18, so let's see if we have any others, and we'll take the best of the lot. Generally, I like to take 2 trades in the morning, see if we can find a thick orange line trade and a 10-point trade. NZD USD, minus 18, no. Euro AUD, minus 71, no. So right now, this is the only guy we've got, AUD NZD. Let's go to the third set. Minus 13 on AUD CAD, no. Minus 50 on CHF JPY, no. Minus 63, no. Minus 59 on pound Australian dollar, no. NZD CHF minus 30, no. And CAD yen minus 60. So out of all 18, we've got 1 prospective trade. We've got it written down. We'll come back to it when we get closer to the top of the hour. So now let's go back and see what we have for a 10-point trade. 10-point trade, we're using a different scale. So we're not concerned with the number here on the thick orange line. I'm going to start with my majors and minors. And what I'm looking for first is I want all 4 lines to either be below the red oversold line or above the blue overbought line. And then if I have that, I'm going to look to see what direction they're pointing. So here, they're just about through the red oversold line, but they're pointing down. When the lines are down below the red oversold line, that's the beginning of a buy signal. And that initial signal to tell me that it's time to buy is that the lines are pointed up and double crossed. So that's what I'm looking for in terms of timing. So I don't have it here on the Euro USD. Pound dollar, the lines are below, but both lines aren't pointed up. So I'm going to pass. I want both the majors and the minors to be pointed up. Here I only have the majors pointed up. Australian US dollar. All right, I've got both both pointed up. I've got them below, even though the miners have gone a little bit into the channel. That's okay with me. I've got them both pointed up. I've got a double cross. So that's 3 points. 1 for being below, 2 for both being pointed up, and 3 that I've got a double cross. I've got green over red and gray over black. So now I'm going to go up to my TNTs, and I want to take a look at how many lines are pointing in the correct direction that supports what I'm seeing on my majors and minors. Excuse me. So in this case, I'm looking for an up movement. So I've got the 2 orange lines, the thick orange and the thin orange, both pointing up. So I get a point for each of that. And on the blue lines, when blue is pointing down, they're inversely related. That means up. So the dotted blue is going down, the thick blue is going down. So I've got all 4 points here. I want a minimum of 3. So I've got 3 points from the majors and minors. I've got 4 points from the TNTs. I am now going to go down and look at my pressure. And I want at least 1 point from my pressure. Right now I've got down pressure. The lines, both lines are going down, and red is on top. So I don't have a point in the pressure. So I don't have I don't have all the elements that I want for the signal here. It is getting, the pressure is starting to turn. The green is starting to curl, and the lines are converging. They're getting closer together, but it hasn't crossed yet. And one of the mistakes I made when I was a new trader is I would anticipate things were going to happen before they did, and that's a recipe for failure. The signals are good. Let's just wait till we see them and take the trade when we see them. If we try to outguess it, we'll generally be wrong. So I don't have the signal, I'm going to pass. And I'd rather not take a trade than take a bad trade. Australian Swiss franc. All right, I've got they're below. They've started to enter the channel. They haven't quite got halfway yet, so to me that's okay. So I've got 3 points here. I've got 4, 5, the 2 orange lines going up. The dotted blue coming down. That's 3. Thick blue is going up. That means down, so I don't get a point for that. So I got 3 out of the 4 in the TNTs, and I have I've got a turn. I've got kind of sideways pressure where green is coming up. So I am going to count that as a point. So I've got 7 points here. So that's USD CHF. But what did we say earlier on? We got a news item coming up at 10 a.m. I don't want to take a 10-point trade with a news item coming up. Now, let's see what else we have. And if we don't have anything else, we'll still do like a more full-blown analysis. But this is we've got enough points here, but the issue is we've got a news item coming up. And I would need to look at the longitudinal chart to determine if I wanted to take the trade. But let's see if we see any other signals. USD, JPY, they're below but pointing down. USD, CAD, they're above, but only the miners are starting to, it's just barely crossed, so we don't quite have anything there. Let's go to the next group. Euro, pound, we're in the channel. Australian yen, we're below, but we've got kind of a sideways here on the miners, so I'm going to pass. Euro, Canadian, they're above. They're pointed down and double crossed, even though the miners have kind of jumped the gun here. That's okay with me. The majors are still up here. So we've got 3 points. So let's go up to the TNTs. thick orange is pointed down, thin orange is pointed down. That's 2 more. Dotted blue is going up. That is 3. Thick blue is going down. I don't get a point for that. So I got 3 out of 4 here, which is good. I want to have a minimum of 3 out of 4. But I have up pressure with green on top. So I don't have a point in the pressure yet. I don't have, I want at least 1 point out of here. I don't have it. It's starting to roll, but it's still up pressure. So, and the difference here versus what we saw over here was the green is going up here, whereas it's not. These aren't going down yet. So Australian NZD, we're below but going down. NZD USD, we are going up. The miners actually have already gone all the way through the channel, where the majors are just entering the channel. Let's call this 3. 2 oranges are going up. 4, 5. The 2 blues are going down. That's 2 more points. So I've got 4 points here, and I've got green just crossing on over the red. So I've got 8 points here. This is a prospect NZD USD. Again, the issue is we got a news item coming up. So let's see what else we have. Euro AUD. He's just about halfway through the channel, so I am going to lay off of this guy. Let's see what we got on the next group. AUD, CAD, we're more than halfway through the channel. Here we're below the red, the oversold, but we're pointing down. Below Euro Yen, we're below the oversold, but pointing down. Pound Australian dollar, we haven't quite gone halfway on the majors. We're pointing down on both. So I'm going to count this as 3, 4, 5. The 2 oranges are going down. Dotted blue coming up. That's a third, so I got 3 out of 4 here. I've got downward pressure. Green's on top, but I got downward pressure, so I got 7 points here. So pound Australian dollar. This is probably the best prospect we've seen so far. New Zealand dollar, Swiss franc, they're below, pointing up, and double crossed. So 3 points, 2 oranges are going up, 4, 5, 2 blues are going down. So I've got all 4 points up here. I've got downward pressure, and green is converging. Hasn't started pointing up yet, but it's going sideways. So when this crosses, this is a good signal here, but it's not quite there yet. And CAD yen not pointing up. So of that group we saw, we had pound Australian dollar as a prospect. We had New Zealand USD as a prospect. But we're not seeing the green crossing over quite yet. So we'll pass, and then USD CHF. We've got the signal here, but again, my issue is the USD. We've got news coming up. So let's go back to the pound Australian dollar. So now with the pound Australian dollar, I want to open that chart and get a more detailed look at it. Let me see if I have one of those charts made. I don't normally trade the pound Australian dollar. Oh, I do have one of those charts made. So let's open it up. Going back to my my trade routine, I want to know the trend. I want to know where the support and resistance are in the channels. So let's take a look. This is a 1 hour chart. I am going to erase these lines. Erase. So I'm going to do some quick and dirty support and resistance around where we are trading. And let's do so I'm looking for spots where we have some touching. Let me just see what's a good starting spot. All right, so I've got touching here, got touching here, I've got touching here, touching here, touching here, touching right in here. On a 60-minute chart, these lines tend to be about 30 pips away from one another. So let's see. So touching here, here, right in here. And let's try to take one below and one above. So so we've got touching right in here, right in here, right over here. Let's see if we can get one above. So right in here we've got touching right here. So now I've got my support and resistance. What's the trend been? I'm going to use the linear regression tool. Basically over the last 2 weeks, 3 weeks, we've had an uptrend, been moving up. So let us now, as I take a look at this, I'm in the trend. I want to know how much room I have to the top of the support or the top of the resistance and to the support. So I'll take my little pip calculator. I got 14 pips down, and I have 19 pips up. 14 pips down, 19 pips up. So now why is this? Are we seeing the same thing that we saw before? AUD. All right, so sell signal. 1, 2, 3. All right, so we get a sell signal with pressure down. So, all right, what confused me here is I'm used to looking at the chart with 5 candles, so the picture looked a little bit different. So I always keep 5 candles. The way I do it is I always have 5 candles so that the chart graphic looks the same. So we've got the signal here. On the shorter term indicators, I've got down, I'm oversold, but I got down pressure. 15-minute, I've got down pressure. I'm oversold, but I've got down pressure. And on the 30-minute, I got red crossing on top, and I'm oversold. 120, I've got down pressure, slight down pressure. So let's go ahead. Let me just, what did we say we had as a down movement? We got 11, 12 pips till we hit that support line or resistance line or support line. So let's go ahead and take a sell for 10 pips. So to take a sell, I'm going to open the chart, file, new chart. I don't have it. No, actually, let me just check and see if I've got it open. AU, Euro, Great Britain, Pound, NZD. I don't have that open. So file, new chart. I'm going to look for the chart in the groups here. I don't see it here. And then I'm going to go to this one, Great Britain Pound. Great Britain, oops, wrong one. Let's try that again. File, new chart. Great Britain Pound. AUD, here it is. I don't like this. I'm going to just change the template to so I've got the chart open. I do my trade in 2 steps. First step's buy or sell. My account is on this demo account. What do we have? We have about $8,000. So I am going to move the decimal spot over 4 spots. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to take a trade of 0.8 to keep within my risk guidelines. And we said market sell. Again, I like to write it down. So yeah, market sell. So it records the trade. Then I'm going to add my stop loss and take profit. I highlight the trade by just clicking anywhere along the line. When I right click, it brings up this menu. I go to modify. I'm going to just use my pip calculator here to calculate what the number should be. So if I want 10 pips to convert pips to points, which this scale is in, I just add an extra 0. I click on the blue copy as. And for right now, we're going to just use 4 times. So I'm going to go to 400. If we have time, we'll go back and calculate that a little more precise. Click the red copy as button, puts numbers in, and I can see everything that I want here. Now, I want to go back, and because we only have 2 minutes left to take that thick orange line trade, which was the AUD NZD. So let's just go back and see if we still see the signal. AUD NZD minus 97 is good. Minus 100, but we don't have all 4 lines below anymore. So that trade is no longer good. So we waited till the top of the hour, but we lost the signal. The signal's still not there. Just take a quick look and see if anything else has come up. So I'm looking for minus 0 or 100. No. I got the minus 100, but I don't have all the lines below. So we don't have a thick orange line trade this hour. So it looks like Yeah, we don't have anything. To go back, if I wanted to do be a little bit more precise on the on the on the stop loss, instead of just going 4 times, I'm going to look at my support and resistance, and I'm going to go 2 supports outside of where we're at. So I would come down to probably somewhere around 92. So here's one line, here's the second line. I want to go a little bit below this line to stop any peek throughs. So 1.9235, we're at 29.77. So that's roughly 70 pips, 25 and 35, 60 pips. So 1.9235. So if I want to go back and change this, I could right click, go to modify, and just change this number to 192,352. And I'm not sure why it's not letting me. Did I do that right? 192,352. 192,352. Let's try it. 1.92352. Nine. Oh, you know what? We're going the wrong direction. We've got a sell trade, so I'm going to go the other direction. That's why it's not going in. So here's the support, or here's the resistance. Here's the second resistance. I'm going to go the other direction. So 0.93510. So we're at 29275, 25, and 50. So that's 75 pips versus the what did we have? We had 40 pips. So to change that, modify 1.9351. There we go. So a little bit more aggressive, and actually in looking at it, I'm going to even push it just a hair bit above where it's traded at, so I don't get stopped out. And this trade is just about to close before we even get off the air here. Just a few pips away from closing. So you're probably not going to see this in my my live account because this is a demo account, and I wouldn't enter it in until after we signed off. Any questions? If you can't find the symbol when you're going to trade it, right click on the market watch and then click show all, and it will repopulate this. And then once you repopulate it, you should be able to go to file, new chart, and find it. it'll give the full list. So if you don't see it in your list, the way to pull up the full list is just right click anywhere on the market watch and go to show all. All right, and somebody just wanted to review on the thick orange line trade, on the thick orange line trade. Let me minimize this. Really, I start with the TNTs, and I'm looking. I just look at this thick orange line number, and I want it to be 0 or minus 100 or within 10 points of either. And I just scan across till I see it. But right now there's 54 minutes in the hour, so it's going to be another 50 minutes before I want to take this trade. The reason being is because on the current candle, we only have 7 minutes worth of information to calculate this. I want it to have over 55 minutes. But minus, I've got a 0, and then I want to, if I have a 0, then I'm going to look to my majors and minors and see if I have all 4 lines touching or above the blue. If I have condition 1 and condition 2, I'm taking the trade. So minus 2 here is within 10 points, and I have all 4 lines above. So if this stays this way at the end of the hour, this is a good trade. So just those 2 conditions. Now some people will wait till the hour actually changes. So if I go back 1 hour, what did we have? We didn't have a signal. If I go back 1 hour, we had minus 100, but we didn't have these guys down below. And I go forward the hour. Some people will say if this number changes by 10, it's a good trade. And if you got into that, it's 2 pips so far. I like to have this is what on the majors I like to have this confirming. So I'd like to have all 4 lines below. Again, let's just go back, take a quick look. The trade is closed but hasn't closed yet. Hopefully it'll close in the next 30 minutes or so. All right, thank you, and we will see you next week. Appreciate y'all coming. Bye-bye. Hey, it's a little bit later, about 30 minutes later than the trade, and just wanted to show you the trade did close. So we had another successful trade. We took a 10 pip trade using the 10 point signal, and on the Great Britain pound, Australian dollar. And in just about an hour from the time we took the trade, it had closed. So another successful trade today. See you next week. Again, Paul McMahon for Smart Trade. Learn to trade using our proprietary indicators. And we are so confident in our ability to make you a successful trader. We'll let you trade our money. So call to find out more. Thanks. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.